Imagine watching your brother become a millionaire, mansions, cars, fame, while you're sitting in a jail cell with a public defender. That's not fiction. That's NBA Youngboy's real brother, Boy Young. And the streets are calling it the biggest betrayal Baton Rouge has ever seen. Where we come from, there's one rule that never breaks: family comes first. But what happens when a man who built his whole image on loyalty forgets his own blood? That's the question the streets are asking about NBA Youngboy and his brother, Boy. Two brothers, same house, same hunger, same dream, but only one made it out. Now one's living in luxury, and the other's fighting for his life behind bars. This is the heartbreaking story of how success tore apart the Young brothers. Your big brother's living in luxury, mansions, cars, millions in the bank, while you're still stuck in the same streets you both grew up trying to escape. Sounds wild, right? But that's exactly what's going on between NBA Youngboy and his real brother, Boy Young. And this story? It's not just about family drama. It's about loyalty, change, and what happens when success pulls you so far away from your roots that you start to forget who helped you plant them. Let's start from the beginning. Boy Young isn't some random person claiming a connection to fame. He's family, for real. Same father, same childhood home, same Baton Rouge streets that tested them both. These two grew up side by side, learning to survive before they ever learned to dream. Their bond wasn't built on money or music, it was built on pain, loyalty, and the kind of love that comes from fighting through the same storms together. Back then, it wasn't about charts or fame. It was about making it through another day. The streets around them were rough, loud with sirens, heavy with loss, and full of traps waiting for young kids with no guidance. In that chaos, Youngboy and Boy only had each other. If one got into trouble, the other stood beside him. If one fell, the other helped him back up. That's what brotherhood looked like before the cameras came around. When Youngboy first started chasing music, Boy was right there, believing in him before the world did. He saw the spark before anyone else noticed it. The two of them spent nights talking about escaping, about turning pain into power, struggle into success. For Boy, his brother wasn't just family. He was the symbol of possibility. If Youngboy made it, it meant maybe they could all make it. And when the fame finally came, it felt like a win for the whole family. Baton Rouge was proud. Their people were proud. Everyone thought the struggle was finally over, that Youngboy would use his success to lift up the ones who helped him survive. But over time, something changed. The distance between fame and family started to grow wider. Boy watched his brother rise: mansions, luxury cars, chart-topping hits, while his own life got harder. Legal problems started stacking up, and when he needed help the most, the person he thought would never turn his back suddenly went silent. Imagine how that feels to see your brother living everything you once dreamed about, while you're stuck fighting for your freedom with no support. Boy isn't asking for fame. He's not chasing clout. All he ever wanted was loyalty, the same loyalty he gave when they were both struggling. Because when you share blood, loyalty shouldn't have to be earned. It should be automatic. That's what makes this situation hurt so deeply. It's not just about money or legal help. It's about love. It's about feeling like the person who once represented hope now represents disappointment. In Baton Rouge, loyalty isn't just a word, it's a code. Turning your back on family is one of the worst things you can do. It's something the streets never forget. And right now, the people who watched these brothers grow up are asking one question: how can someone who built his name on keeping it real forget the one person who was real with him before the fame? At the end of the day, this isn't just Boy's story, it's a reflection of what success can do to family bonds. Because when money changes how you treat your own blood, it doesn't just reveal who you've become, it reminds everyone who you used to be. But then things changed. Youngboy made it. Millions of streams, chart-topping hits, luxury cars, the whole dream. Meanwhile, Boy? Still in the trenches. Still fighting cases. Still trying to survive while his brother lives behind gates and security guards. It's easy to look at that and say, damn, he forgot his family. But the truth goes deeper than that. See, when someone escapes a hard life, their mindset shifts. They start thinking, if I did it, anyone can. They forget that not everyone has the same gifts, breaks, or timing. And sometimes, they distance themselves, not because they stopped caring, but because they're trying to forget the pain that shaped them. To Youngboy, his brother might represent everything he's trying to leave behind: the violence, the danger, the trauma. So, instead of helping his brother up, he might be keeping his distance to protect his peace. But here's what makes it hard to understand: Youngboy helps everybody else. He's got friends on payroll, gifts people cars, and looks out for his crew. Yet, his own brother, the one who shared his childhood, his hunger, his fight, is sitting in a Texas jail, facing serious charges with only a public defender by his side. That's more than just family tension. That's a painful reminder of how success can twist relationships, how money can build walls instead of bridges. At the end of the day, Boy Young isn't asking for fame or fortune, just support from the person he's always believed in. But right now, it looks like the same bond that once kept them alive is the very thing being tested. According to both the streets and the paperwork floating around, Boy Young is in serious trouble. The kind of trouble that doesn't just disappear with time. We're talking charges heavy enough to steal decades from a man's life. In a case like that, a good lawyer isn't just helpful, it's the difference between coming home or never seeing home again. But here's what makes it sting. NBA Youngboy spends more on jewelry in a single month than it would cost to get his brother the legal help he desperately needs. He can drop 6 figures on a chain without blinking, but his own brother is sitting in a cell, represented by a public defender juggling dozens of other cases. The imbalance is loud and people are noticing. Out in the streets, this situation's been a topic for a minute now. Folks are questioning Youngboy's loyalty not as a rapper, but as a brother. Because where we come from, family always comes first. That's the rule. That's the code. But it feels like Youngboy forgot that part of the game when it comes to his own blood. And this is where things get wild, because the same guy who's letting his brother sit behind bars is known for showering his friends with love and money. We've seen it all, buying his crew cars, putting them on payroll, flying them out to shows, making sure everyone eats. He's got friends who don't rap, don't manage, don't even work, and they're still getting taken care of just for being loyal. Meanwhile, Boy, his real brother, the one who shared the same house, the same food, the same pain, is locked up, fighting for his life with a state-assigned lawyer. That's not just a bad look. That's a heartbreaking one. The psychology behind this runs deep. Sometimes, when people make it out of struggle, their loyalty shifts. They start feeling closer to the people who were around when they blew up rather than the ones who were there before the fame. Youngboy's friends represent his success, his new lifestyle, the polished version of himself he wants to hold on to. But his brother? He represents the past, the pain, the danger, the chaos he's trying to erase. But here's the thing, in the streets, there's a code. Family comes first. Always. You can fall out with your homies, lose touch with your crew, even cut ties with fake friends, but blood? That's supposed to be forever. Youngboy grew up knowing that. He rapped about loyalty, about staying real, about never forgetting where you came from. His music is full of those messages. But when people in Baton Rouge look at how he's treating Boy, it's hard not to feel disappointed. They're proud of his success, no doubt, but they're also asking tough questions. Because if a man can forget his own brother, the one who shared his struggle, what does that say about his loyalty to anyone else? If he can leave his own blood behind, then all those bars about keeping it real start to sound like just words. And that's the part that hurts the most. Now, let's look at this story from Boy Young's side, because what he's going through isn't just legal trouble, it's emotional. Imagine sitting in a cold jail cell, staring at the ceiling, while your big brother becomes one of the biggest artists in the world. The same brother who once promised you that both of you were going to make it out together. Back then, it was the two of them against the world, dreaming about fame, talking about how success would change their lives, how they'd finally take care of their family. But now, one brother's worth millions, and the other's stuck behind bars, fighting for his freedom with a lawyer who barely has time to pick up the phone. That kind of thing breaks a man's spirit. It's not just about the case anymore, it's about feeling forgotten by the one person you thought would always have your back. In old footage and interviews, you can see it, the pain in Boy's eyes when he talks about his situation. That's not just sadness, that's betrayal. He's not only battling a court case, he's battling the hurt of being left behind by family. Because when your own blood turns away during your darkest hour, something inside you changes. You stop seeing the world the same way. You start to question what loyalty even means and whether love still holds weight when money gets involved. Now let's talk about the reality of it, public defender versus private lawyer. If you've ever seen how the system works, you know that public defenders have mountains of cases. They're overworked, underpaid, and barely have time to breathe, let alone focus on one client. A private attorney, especially one that costs the kind of money Youngboy easily makes, could change everything. We're talking investigators, witnesses, real defense strategies, the type of help that could mean the difference between walking free or losing decades of your life. And what's crazy? Youngboy probably spends more on a single music video than it would take to get his brother a top-tier lawyer. Instead, that money's going toward cars, jewelry, and luxury trips. He's buying diamond chains for his friends while his brother's still wearing an orange jumpsuit. The streets see it all, and they don't forget things like that. Because here's the hard truth. Youngboy treats some of his friends better than his own family. We've seen him buy houses for people who don't even make music. We've seen him pay folks just for hanging around. He's surrounded by people who get everything they want, except his real brother, who's sitting in jail waiting for someone to care. That's not just neglect. That's a choice. And it says a lot about what happens when fame changes your circle, when the people who shared your struggle get replaced by the people who share your spotlight. The psychology behind it is deep. Sometimes, when someone rises from the bottom, they feel more connected to the people who helped them during their come-up than the ones who were there before it started. To them, those new friends represent the new life. But the old ones, like Boy, remind them of pain, struggle, and a past they're trying to forget. Still, no amount of success should make you forget who you started with. Because when the fame fades and the lights go out, the only people who truly stand by you are the ones who were there before the world even knew your name. Youngboy's friends tell his success story, but Boy tells his past. His friends represent the life he built: fame, comfort, money, freedom. Boy represents where he came from: the pain, the struggle, the hunger. And here's the truth a lot of people don't talk about. When some people get rich, they start to believe their family should just be grateful for being connected to them. Like, you already benefit from being my brother, I don't owe you anything more. But that's not how family is supposed to work. Blood isn't about benefits. It's about bond. Now, let's talk about how Baton Rouge sees it. The streets are watching this situation closely, and they're not impressed. In the hood, turning your back on family is one of the biggest sins there is. Loyalty isn't just a word, it's a code. And that code says family comes first, no matter what. His realness, the same principles that built his name. Because if you can't stand by your own blood, how can anyone else trust your word? Now, the ripple effect is hitting hard. This situation with Boy isn't just personal anymore, it's public. It's shaping how people see Youngboy. The streets are whispering. Social media is loud. And the story is changing fast. The narrative that once said Youngboy's real, he's loyal, he never forgot where he came from, is slowly turning into Youngboy forgot his roots. When your whole reputation is built on being authentic, on being the guy who keeps it real no matter what, abandoning your brother creates cracks in that image. People start to wonder, if he can turn his back on family, what else is he faking? And the wild part? This could have been avoided so easily. Youngboy didn't have to make a public gesture. He didn't need to post about it. All he had to do was quietly get his brother a good lawyer, make sure he had the right defense, show love without the cameras rolling. But instead, he chose silence. And now, that silence is louder than any statement he could have made. It's not just fans noticing either, the industry is watching. In hip-hop, taking care of your people isn't just respect, it's a code. Artists get judged on how they treat those closest to them. Helping family shows character. Abandoning them? That screams selfishness. And for someone like Youngboy, whose whole brand is tied to loyalty and realness, this looks bad, really bad. Because in the streets, how you treat your family is a reflection of how you treat everybody. If you can leave your own brother behind, what does that say about your loyalty to your crew? Your city? Your fans? That's the question people are starting to ask. Is Youngboy's loyalty real, or is it only for people who benefit him? And that's dangerous territory for someone whose power comes from street credibility. The streets don't forgive fake loyalty. They don't forgive abandonment. They see through money, fame, and status, and what they're seeing right now isn't sitting right. If the streets turn on him, it won't just hurt his reputation, it could shake his entire foundation. His fan base, his image, his relationships in the industry, all of it depends on the idea that he's real. And the worst part? This situation is giving his enemies ammo. People who already didn't like Youngboy now have a story to use against him, proof that he's not as loyal as he claims. Because once your loyalty is questioned in the streets, it's almost impossible to get that respect back. Youngboy might think he's untouchable because of his success, but the truth is, street respect is what built his career in the first place. And losing it could cost him more than money ever made him. Pulling his brother out of that world, he's been cutting distance, hoping it'll protect his peace. But in doing that, he's forgetting something important. You can't escape your roots by abandoning them. There's also a mindset that creeps in when people make it big, a quiet voice that says, I earned this. I did the work. So I shouldn't have to fix anyone else's problems. And that's probably how Youngboy justifies it. But that's not what family loyalty is about. Family means helping when it's hard, not only when it's convenient. The sad truth is, success has blurred the values that built him: loyalty, love, and family. The very things he used to rap about with pride are now fading in the background, replaced by a fear of losing what he's gained. And when you stack that up against other rappers, it looks even worse. Look at Lil Baby. When his people are in trouble, he steps in. He makes sure they've got lawyers, protection, stability. Same goes for Drake, Jay-Z, Future. All of them understand that real success isn't about luxury, it's about legacy. They don't treat helping family like a favor, they treat it like a duty, like an honor. But Youngboy? He's treating his brother like a stranger, like someone who doesn't deserve his help, even though they share the same blood. That's not just cold, it's a direct break from the code the streets raised him on. And the comparison makes it worse. Because it proves one thing: staying loyal is possible. You can be successful and still take care of your people. It's not about money, it's about morals. Helping Bway wouldn't have hurt Youngboy's career. It would have strengthened it. But now he's facing long-term consequences, the kind that don't fade when the headlines do. Family wounds like this don't heal easy. The betrayal, the silence, the feeling of being left behind, that sticks. Even if one day Youngboy decides to help, Bway will never forget that his millionaire brother let him fight for his freedom with a public defender. He'll remember watching his brother buy cars and gifts for others, while he sat in a cell waiting for someone to show up for him. That kind of hurt doesn't go away. And it's not just Bway. The rest of the family is watching, too. They see what's happening. If he can turn his back on one brother, what's stopping him from turning on them next? Success without family loyalty isn't peace, it's loneliness with a price tag. And the streets don't forget either. Even if Youngboy keeps winning charts and selling out shows, people will always remember how he treated his own blood. In hip-hop, reputation is forever and loyalty violations stick like scars. Because at the end of the day, this story isn't just about Youngboy. It's about what happens when success makes you forget who you climbed with. When money changes your focus so much that you trade love for image. Youngboy has everything: money, fame, respect, but he's losing something no amount of wealth can replace: his family bond. He's trading blood loyalty for business connections, and that kind of trade never ends well. Right now, Bway is sitting in a jail cell with a public defender, while his brother, one of the biggest artists in the world, spends on everything except the one thing that could actually make a difference. That's not just neglect, that's betrayal. And what's crazy is, this could still be fixed. Youngboy could pick up the phone tomorrow, hire a good lawyer, and show the world that blood still means something to him. But every day he doesn't, the damage grows deeper, and the silence speaks louder. If there's one lesson here, it's this: success means nothing if you forget the people who helped you get there. Money can buy freedom, houses, and fame, but it can't buy back loyalty once it's gone. And the streets never forget when you break the code. Youngboy might think he's protecting his peace by staying away from his brother's problems. But what he's really doing is destroying the very foundation his success was built on: the loyalty, the truth, the family bonds that once made him real. That's the real story behind why Youngboy left his brother behind. It's not about fame. It's not about money. It's about how success can twist your vision until you forget the one rule that never changes. Family comes first. Always. Because when you forget that, you don't just lose people, you lose yourself. And in the streets, fake always gets exposed. Real recognize real. And right now, the streets are starting to see the difference.